Miracle, at 54. At 54 years old, I held a positive pregnancy test in my trembling hands. 3 different doctors had told me it was impossible. I was post-menopausal, infertile, done. But the baby growing inside me was real. What should have been a miracle became my worst nightmare when I discovered the truth about my husband, and whose child I was really carrying. This is a story about love, lies, and a medical impossibility that destroyed everything I thought I knew. Act 1. The Lonely Empire, 0:20 to 5:30. My name is Victoria Preston, and for most of my adult life, I've been defined by what I built, not who I loved. I'm 54 years old now, but this story really begins when I was 30. That's when I married my first husband, Richard Preston III. Old money from Boston, real estate mogul, 15 years my senior. Our marriage was comfortable, transactional, if I'm being honest. I brought youth and ambition. He brought connections and capital. Together, we built the Preston Hotel Group, a collection of 47 boutique luxury hotels across the United States. Historic properties, restored mansions, architectural gems. Our flagship, the Preston Grand in Charleston, South Carolina, has been featured in every travel magazine you can imagine. But there was one thing we couldn't build: a family. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome at 28. By 30, after 2 years of failed IVF attempts, 3 miscarriages, and enough hormones to make me feel like a science experiment, the doctors gave us the final verdict. I would never carry a child to term. Richard took it harder than I did. He'd wanted an heir, someone to pass the Preston legacy to. I threw myself into work instead. The hotels became my children. Each property, each restoration, each 5-star review. That was my legacy. Richard died 10 years ago, at 69, from a sudden heart attack. We were married for 24 years. I won't lie and say I was heartbroken. I was sad, yes. He'd been my partner, my business ally. But we'd slept in separate bedrooms for the last decade of our marriage. There was respect, but no passion, not anymore. His death left me with everything: a billion-dollar hotel empire, estates in 3 states, investments, art collections. I was 44 years old, a widow, and completely alone. For the next 8 years, I buried myself in expansion. We acquired properties in Savannah, New Orleans, Santa Fe, Napa Valley. I traveled constantly, worked 80-hour weeks, sat on boards, attended galas. I was successful, respected, powerful, and utterly, devastatingly lonely. Act 2. The Architect, 5:30 to 12. Everything changed 2 years ago when I decided to restore my personal residence, the Preston Estate in Newport, Rhode Island. It's a 1920s Mediterranean revival mansion, 12,000 square feet, overlooking the ocean. Richard had bought it as an investment, but we'd barely lived there. After his death, it sat empty, falling into disrepair. I hired Bennett and Associates, an architectural firm specializing in historic restoration. That's when I met Lucas Bennett. He was 31 years old, tall, with sandy brown hair, kind hazel eyes, and hands that knew how to create beautiful things. He'd graduated from Yale's architecture program, spent 5 years working on historic properties across Europe, and had a portfolio that took my breath away. Our first meeting was professional. He walked through the estate with me, pointing out original crown molding that could be salvaged, marble fireplaces that needed restoration, terrazzo floors hidden beneath ugly 1970s carpet. "Mrs. Preston," he said, running his hand along a doorframe, "this house has incredible bones. Whoever built this understood beauty. We just need to bring it back to life." The way he talked about the house, with reverence, with passion, it stirred something in me I thought was long dead. The restoration took 18 months. Lucas was there almost every day, overseeing contractors, consulting with me on design choices, working late into the evenings. We'd share dinner sometimes, sitting on the terrace as the sun set over the ocean, discussing tile patterns and paint colors. He'd tell me about his time in Italy, restoring a 16th century villa in Tuscany. I'd tell him about my hotels, my travels, my work. He never treated me like I was old. He never looked at me with pity or condescension. He saw me, really saw me, as a woman, not just a wealthy widow. I fell in love slowly, then all at once. It started with small touches, his hand on my back as we walked through the construction site, sitting close together reviewing blueprints, the way he'd smile at me, really smile, like I was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. One night, 8 months into the project, we were alone in the library. The contractors had left. We were looking at fabric samples for the curtains, and our hands touched. The kiss that followed was inevitable, desperate, 20 years of loneliness pouring out of me. "Victoria," he whispered against my lips. I've wanted to do that for months. You're 31 years old, I said, pulling back. I'm 52. This is insane. Age is just a number. Lucas, I'm old enough to be your mother. He took my face in his hands. You're the most beautiful, intelligent, passionate woman I've ever met. I don't care about the years between us. I care about you. We became lovers that night, and for the first time in my entire life, I understood what it meant to be truly desired. Not for my money, not for my connections, but for me. Act 3. The Secret Marriage, 1200 to 1800. We kept our relationship secret for 6 months. It wasn't shame, it was practicality. I had a company to run, a board of directors who already thought I was too emotional, too soft. If they found out I was sleeping with a man 21 years younger, they'd question every decision I made. Lucas understood. His firm had contracts with my company. A public relationship could jeopardize both our careers. But in private, we were inseparable. He moved into the estate once the restoration was complete. We traveled together, always separately in public, sharing hotel rooms in private. Paris, Barcelona, Tokyo. He showed me how to live again, not just work. On my 53rd birthday, he proposed. We were in Santorini, watching the sunset from our hotel balcony. He got down on one knee with a vintage Art Deco ring, emerald-cut diamond, platinum setting from the 1920s. Marry me, he said simply. I don't care if we have to keep it secret. I don't care if the whole world judges us. I want you to be my wife. I said yes through tears. We married 3 weeks later in a private ceremony in Hawaii. Just us, an officiant, and 2 witnesses we'd never see again. I wore a simple cream dress. He wore linen. We exchanged vows on an empty beach at sunset. I'd never been happier. But there was something I needed to tell him, something I'd been avoiding. Lucas, I said on our wedding night, I need you to understand something. I can't have children. I was told 25 years ago that pregnancy was impossible for me, and now, at 53, I'm post-menopausal. That ship has sailed entirely. I waited for disappointment, for regret. Instead, he kissed me. Victoria, I didn't marry you to have children. I married you because I love you. If we want kids someday, we can adopt. Or not. It doesn't matter. You're enough. Relief flooded through me. But I wanted to be sure. Sure that my body was truly done. Sure that we could have a normal, intimate life without complications. I consulted with 3 different gynecologists over the next 2 months. All 3 confirmed the same thing. Dr. Sandra Chen in Newport, Mrs. Preston, you're 53 years old, haven't had a period in over 3 years, and your hormone levels confirm complete menopause. Pregnancy is not just unlikely, it's impossible. Dr. Robert Hayes in Boston. Your FSH levels are consistent with postmenopausal status. Your ovarian reserve is depleted. There's 0 chance of natural conception. Dr. Maria Rodriguez in New York. I understand your concern, but I can say with 100% medical certainty, you cannot get pregnant. You don't need birth control. That chapter is closed. Relieved, reassured, I stopped worrying. Lucas and I had a passionate, uninhibited marriage. No barriers, no fears. We were free. The first year of our marriage was bliss. We kept it secret from almost everyone. Just my personal lawyer and accountant knew. Lucas continued working, taking on selective projects. I ran my company. We lived quietly in Newport, traveling when we could. We were happy. Truly, genuinely happy. And then, 14 months after our wedding, everything changed. Act 4. The Impossible, 1800 to 2500. It started in early October. I was 54 years old, about to turn 55 in 3 months. I woke up one morning feeling nauseous. Not sick exactly, but off. My coffee tasted wrong. The smell of Lucas's cologne made my stomach turn. Are you okay? He asked, concerned. I'm fine. Probably just something I ate. But it didn't stop. For 2 weeks, I felt queasy every morning. I was exhausted, sleeping 10 hours a night, and still waking up tired. My breasts were tender. I'd gained about 8 pounds, seemingly overnight. Victoria, you need to see a doctor, Lucas insisted. This isn't normal. I was terrified. My mother had died of ovarian cancer at 58. My first thought was, this is it. I have cancer. I went to see Dr. Chen, my gynecologist in Newport. She ran blood tests, ordered an ultrasound. Mrs. Preston, she said, studying my chart with a frown. Some of your symptoms are concerning. The weight gain, the fatigue, the nausea. I want to rule out some things. We're going to do a comprehensive abdominal ultrasound, check your ovaries, your uterus, make sure there are no masses. I lay on the exam table, cold gel on my stomach, watching the ultrasound screen with dread. Dr. Chen moved the wand slowly across my abdomen. Then she froze. That's not possible, she whispered. What? What is it? Is it cancer? She turned the screen toward me, her face pale. Mrs. Preston, you're pregnant, the room spun. That's not funny. I'm not joking. Look. She pointed to the screen. That's a fetus, measuring approximately 18 weeks. You're 4.5 months pregnant. I couldn't breathe. No, you told me it was impossible. You said, I know what I said, but there's a heartbeat. There's a baby. I've never seen anything like this. Your age, your post-menopausal status. Victoria, this is a medical miracle. 1 in 10 million, maybe 1 in 100 million. I started crying. Not tears of joy, tears of pure terror. I'm 54 years old. I can't be pregnant. My body can't handle this. Dr. Chen held my hand. We need to run more tests. This is an extremely high-risk pregnancy. Your age, your medical history. Victoria, I have to be honest with you. The risks are significant. Chromosomal abnormalities, gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, placental problems. And the delivery, at your age, a vaginal birth could be life-threatening. We'd be looking at a C-section, and even that carries massive risks. Are you saying I should terminate? She paused. I'm saying you have options, and you need to discuss this with your husband and make an informed decision. But if you choose to continue this pregnancy, you'll need round-the-clock monitoring, a team of specialists, and you need to understand. You could die giving birth. Act 5. The breaking point, 25 minutes to 32 minutes. I told Lucas that night. He'd made dinner, pasta carbonara, my favorite. I couldn't eat a bite. Lucas, I need to tell you something. He saw my face and immediately put down his fork. What's wrong? What did the doctor say? I'm pregnant. Silence. Complete, deafening silence. Then, that's not possible. I know, but I am. 18 weeks, 4.5 months. There's a heartbeat. It's real. His face went through a dozen emotions, shock, confusion, disbelief, and then something I couldn't quite read. How is that possible? You said. I know what I said. Every doctor told me it was impossible. But Lucas, I swear to you, I haven't been with anyone else. This baby is yours. It has to be. Victoria, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just trying to understand how this happened. The doctors are calling it a medical miracle. 1 in 100 million. My body somehow, I don't know, woke up? One last egg, one last chance. And we made a baby. I watched his face, waiting for joy, for excitement, for anything positive. Instead, I saw fear. What did the doctor say about the risks? I told him everything, the complications, the danger, the possibility that I might not survive. Then you can't do this, he said immediately. Victoria, I can't lose you. We have to terminate. This might be my only chance to be a mother. You're 54 years old. Your body can't handle a pregnancy. The doctors said. The doctors also said I'd never get pregnant, and yet here we are. This is different. This could kill you. Or it might not. Women have babies in their 50s. It's rare, but it happens. Women in their early 50s, maybe, with medical intervention, egg donors, surrogates, not natural conception at 54. Victoria, please, I'm begging you. I love you. I can't watch you die for a baby we never planned for. We fought for 3 days. It was the first real fight of our marriage. Lucas wanted me to terminate. He was terrified of losing me. I understood his fear. I was terrified too. But something in me had shifted. For 25 years, I'd grieved the children I'd never have. And now, against all odds, impossibly, I had one last chance. I decided to continue the pregnancy. I need you to support me, I told Lucas. I need you to be with me through this. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I'll be here. But Victoria, if at any point the doctors say your life is in danger, we're done. I won't lose you, not for this, not for anything. I agreed. It seemed reasonable at the time. Act 6. The Nightmare Pregnancy. 32 minutes to 39 minutes. The next 6 months were hell. Dr. Chen referred me to a high-risk pregnancy specialist in Boston, Dr. Michael Thornton, one of the top maternal-fetal medicine doctors in the country. He assembled a team, cardiologists, endocrinologists, neonatologists. I had appointments twice a week, sometimes more. At 20 weeks, the amniocentesis came back clear. No chromosomal abnormalities. The baby was a boy. Healthy, perfect. You're incredibly lucky, Dr. Thornton said. But we're not out of the woods. Your age alone puts you at extreme risk. By 24 weeks, I developed gestational diabetes. Insulin injections, constant blood sugar monitoring, strict diet. At 28 weeks, my blood pressure spiked. Preeclampsia. Bed rest, medications, daily monitoring. At 32 weeks, I was hospitalized. My kidneys were struggling. The baby was measuring small. Placental insufficiency. The placenta was aging faster than normal, not providing enough nutrients. We need to deliver soon, Dr. Thornton said. If we wait too long, we risk stillbirth. But if we deliver too early, the baby's lungs might not be developed enough. Lucas was by my side every day, but I could see the toll it was taking on him. He'd aged years and months. Dark circles under his eyes. Weight loss. He barely slept. I should never have agreed to this, he said one night, sitting beside my hospital bed. I should have fought harder. Lucas, don't. You're dying right in front of me, Victoria. Your kidneys are failing. Your blood pressure is through the roof. And for what? A baby we didn't even want? Don't say that. Don't you dare say that. It's true. We were happy. We had everything. And now, I'm going to lose you because of some medical impossibility that should never have happened. His words cut deeper than any scalpel. At 34 weeks, my kidneys began to fail completely. Dr. Thornton made the call. We're delivering tomorrow. Emergency C-section. Victoria, I have to be honest with you. There's a significant chance you won't survive this. We're going to do everything we can, but your body is shutting down. They made me sign forms, medical directives. In case I didn't make it, what did I want? Did I want to be resuscitated? Did I want life support? Lucas held my hand as I signed, tears streaming down his face. I love you, he whispered. I'm so sorry. For everything I said, I love you. I love you too. And Lucas, if something happens to me, promise me you'll take care of our son. Promise me. I promise. Act 7. The delivery, 39 minutes to 44 minutes. They wheeled me into the operating room at 6 a.m. on a freezing January morning. I was 55 years old. I'd had my birthday in the hospital. 23 medical professionals surrounded me. Anesthesiologists, surgeons, neonatal specialists, nurses. Lucas wasn't allowed in. Too dangerous. Too many people. He kissed me before they took me in. Come back to me, he said. I wanted to promise him I would. But I couldn't lie. The epidural went in. I couldn't feel anything below my chest. They put up a curtain so I couldn't see the surgery. Dr. Thornton's voice. Okay, Victoria, we're starting. You're going to feel some pressure. Pressure. That was an understatement. I felt like I was being ripped apart. Then, at 6:47 a.m., I heard it. A cry. Weak at first, then stronger. It's a boy, someone said. They held him up for just a second. Tiny, red, covered in vernix, screaming his little lungs out. Then they whisked him away to the NICU team. He's breathing on his own, I heard someone say. Good tone, good color. 4 pounds, 6 ounces. My baby. My impossible, miraculous baby. Then everything went wrong. She's hemorrhaging, Dr. Thornton's voice, urgent. Get me more suction. Blood pressure's dropping. 80/50. Start a transfusion. Now. I couldn't see what was happening, but I could feel myself slipping away. The room was getting darker. Voices sounded like they were underwater. Victoria, stay with me. Stay with me. I thought about Lucas. About our son. About all the things I'd never get to do. Watch my baby grow up. Teach him to walk. Hear him call me mama. This was it. I was dying. And then, nothing. Act 8. The aftermath. 44 minutes to 50 minutes. I woke up 3 days later in the ICU. Lucas was asleep in a chair beside my bed, his hand holding mine. He looked terrible. Unshaven, rumpled clothes, eyes swollen from crying. Lucas, I whispered. My throat was raw from the breathing tube they'd had down my throat. He jerked awake. Victoria, oh my God, you're awake. He started crying, pressing his face against my hand. I thought I lost you. You coded twice. Your heart stopped. They brought you back, but you were in a coma, and they didn't know if you'd wake up, and... The baby? He's okay. He's in the NICU. He's small, but he's strong. Victoria, our son is alive. Our son. Those words had never sounded more beautiful. It took me 2 weeks to recover enough to even see him. I'd lost so much blood during the delivery that they'd had to give me 6 units. My kidneys had shut down completely. I'd been on dialysis. There was talk of permanent kidney damage, of dialysis for life. But slowly, miraculously, my body healed. My kidney function returned. My blood pressure normalized. The day they wheeled me into the NICU to hold my son for the first time, I wept. He was perfect. Tiny, just 5 pounds now, but perfect. He had Lucas's nose, my dark hair. When I held him against my chest, he opened his eyes and looked at me. Hi, baby boy, I whispered. I'm your mama. I've been waiting my whole life to meet you. Lucas stood beside us, his hand on my shoulder. What should we name him? We'd never discussed names. We'd been too focused on survival. Nathaniel, I said. It means gift from God. Because that's what he is. Nathaniel Preston Bennett, Lucas said softly. It's perfect. We brought Nathaniel home 6 weeks later. He was healthy, thriving, eating well. The doctors were amazed by his progress. And mine. Against all odds, we'd both survived. But something had changed between Lucas and me. Something I couldn't quite name. He was attentive, loving, a wonderful father. But there was a distance there that hadn't existed before. I told myself it was exhaustion, new baby stress, trauma from almost losing me. I told myself a lot of things. Heat 9. The truth, 50 minutes to 57 minutes. Nathaniel was 3 months old when I found the first piece of the puzzle. I was doing laundry, something I'd never done before in my life, but our live-in staff was off for the weekend, and I'd wanted to do something normal, something maternal. In Lucas's jeans pocket, I found a receipt. DNA testing. $299. From a lab in Providence, dated 2 weeks ago. My blood turned to ice. I confronted him that night after Nathaniel was asleep. Lucas, what is this? I held up the receipt. His face went pale. Victoria, did you get a paternity test? I can explain. Did you get a paternity test? I was shouting now, something I never did. Yes. He couldn't look at me. Yes, I did. I felt like I'd been slapped. You thought I cheated on you? You thought Nathaniel wasn't yours? It wasn't that. Victoria, you were 54 years old, post-menopausal. 3 doctors said pregnancy was impossible. And then suddenly you're pregnant, and I'm supposed to just believe it's a miracle? So you thought I lied? You thought I got pregnant by someone else and tried to pass the baby off as yours? I didn't know what to think. The odds of this happening naturally were literally 1 in 100 million. It was easier to believe you'd had an affair than to believe in a medical miracle. And what did the test say, Lucas? What did it say? He pulled out a folded paper from his wallet, handed it to me with shaking hands. I read it. Probability of paternity, 99.9%. Lucas Bennett is the biological father. So you know now, he's yours. Are you happy? Do you feel better? Victoria, I'm sorry. I just needed to know. You needed to know? I almost died giving birth to our son. I spent 6 months in hell, my body shutting down, in constant pain, risking everything, and you needed to know if he was even yours? I'm sorry. I was scared. I was confused. Get out! What? Get out of this house, tonight. I can't even look at you right now. He left, stayed at a hotel. We didn't speak for 3 days. But that was just the first crack in the foundation. The real earthquake was still coming. Act 10. The investigation. 57 minutes to 1 hour and 4 minutes. I couldn't let it go. Something about the whole situation felt wrong. The pregnancy itself, the timing, Lucas's suspicions. I hired a private investigator. His name was James Riley, former FBI, now doing private work for wealthy clients who needed discretion. I want you to investigate my husband, I told him. Everything. His background, his finances, his past relationships, everything. Mrs. Preston, are you sure? Sometimes the truth is worse than not knowing. I need to know. It took him 2 weeks. What he found destroyed me. Lucas Bennett wasn't who he said he was. His real name was Lucas Hartley. He'd changed it legally 6 years ago. Why? Because he'd been involved in a fraud scheme in California, posing as a licensed architect when he'd never actually graduated from Yale. He'd done 2 years in prison. After his release, he'd moved to the East Coast, changed his name, created a fake resume with a fake Yale degree, and started working for Bennett and Associates, a firm owned by his uncle, who knew the truth and gave him a second chance. But there was more. James found financial records. Lucas had debts, massive debts, gambling debts specifically. Over $300,000 owed to some very dangerous people in Atlantic City. 6 months before he met me, he'd been threatened. Pay up or face consequences. He didn't have the money. And then he'd taken a job restoring the estate of one of the wealthiest widows in America. Mrs. Preston, James said, laying out bank statements. 3 days after your wedding, Lucas paid off $150,000 of his debt. Where did that money come from? I knew where. I'd given him access to one of my accounts. For household expenses, I'd said. I trusted him. He'd stolen from me. There's more, James continued. I found emails between Lucas and someone named Derek Voss. Derek is a fertility doctor in New York who was struck off the medical register 5 years ago for ethics violations, specifically for performing unauthorized fertility procedures. What does that have to do with Lucas? James showed me the emails. My hands shook as I read them. From Lucas. Dated 18 months ago. Derek, I need your help with something sensitive. Long story short, I'm in a relationship with a wealthy older woman. She's post-menopausal, thinks she can't get pregnant. What if she could? What if there was a miracle baby? Would that secure things? Derek's response. You're talking about artificial insemination without consent. That's illegal, Luke, and insane. Lucas. Hear me out. She's desperate for a child. Always has been. If she got pregnant naturally, she'd be over the moon. And I'd be the father of her miracle baby. Father to the heir of $1 billion fortune. Derek. This is fraud. I could lose my license. Oh wait, already did. Lucas. I'll pay you $50,000. Cash. There were more emails, plans, discussions of how to do it. Derek explaining that he could obtain fertility medications, hormones that could restart ovulation even in post-menopausal women. Not guaranteed, but possible in rare cases. And then, the final email. Lucas, dated 13 months ago. It worked. She's pregnant. Miracle of miracles. The old bat thinks it's divine intervention. I'll have that $50,000 for you next month. I vomited right there in James Riley's office. Act 11. The Confrontation. 10400 to 11100. I confronted Lucas that night. I had James with me, and my lawyer, Patricia Valdez. Lucas came home to find us all sitting in the living room. Nathaniel was asleep upstairs with our nanny. Victoria, what's going on? Sit down, Lucas, or should I call you Lucas Hartley? I watched the color drain from his face. I know everything. The name change, the prison time, the fake credentials, the gambling debts, and most importantly, I know about Derek Voss. Victoria, I can explain. Explain what? How you drugged me? How you artificially inseminated me without my knowledge or consent? How you got me pregnant as part of a plan to secure your financial future? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I was screaming now, months of rage pouring out. You saw a lonely, desperate widow, and you saw a meal ticket. You planned this whole thing. I fell in love with you. You fell in love with my money. You manipulated me, you lied to me, you violated my body, and you almost killed me with that pregnancy. I nearly died, Lucas. My kidneys failed. My heart stopped twice. He was crying now. I didn't know it would be that dangerous. I thought older women had babies all the time now. I didn't think. You didn't think about anything except money. How much did you steal from me? $150,000 to pay off your gambling debts? Another $50,000 to your criminal friend? How much, Lucas? Patricia spoke up. Mrs. Preston, I've reviewed your accounts. In the 18 months since your marriage, approximately $470,000 has been transferred from your personal accounts to accounts controlled by Mr. Hartley. Additionally, he's been siphoning funds from the household account, smaller amounts, but totaling about $85,000. Over $500,000. Lucas, you're a con artist, a criminal, and you used my body as part of your con. Do you understand how sick that is? You got me pregnant against my will. That's rape. That's what you did. You raped me. No. Victoria, please. I love you. I love Nathaniel. We're a family. We're not a family. We're a crime scene. I had him arrested that night. Charges, fraud, theft, assault, the unauthorized insemination, and a dozen other counts Patricia had drawn up. He fought it, of course. Got a lawyer. Claimed I was lying, that I was mentally unstable, that I was trying to deny him access to his son. The trial took 8 months. Act 12. The Trial in Truth. 111 to 118. The trial was a media circus. Billionaire widow claims husband impregnated her without consent. Miracle baby or criminal scheme? The headlines were endless. Lucas's defense was simple. I was a scorned woman, embarrassed that I'd married a younger man, trying to destroy him now that I'd gotten what I wanted. A baby. But we had evidence. The emails to Derek Voss. Bank records showing the payments. Derek himself, who testified in exchange for immunity, explaining in graphic detail how Lucas had approached him with the plan. Mr. Bennett asked me to provide him with medications that could potentially restart ovulation in a post-menopausal woman, Derek testified. Specifically, he wanted follicle-stimulating hormones, human chorionic gonadotropin, and progesterone. He said his wife took vitamins every morning. He was going to hide the hormones in her vitamin capsules. The courtroom gasped. And did you provide these medications? The prosecutor asked. Yes. He paid me $50,000 in cash. What did he plan to do once she was ovulating? He said they had regular marital relations. He figured if he could get her body to release an egg, nature would take care of the rest. It was a long shot, but it worked. My lawyer presented medical evidence. 3 separate gynecologists testified that my pregnancy should have been medically impossible without intervention. An endocrinologist reviewed my hormone levels from before the pregnancy, confirmed post-menopausal, and then during the pregnancy, showing levels consistent with someone who'd been taking fertility medications. Mrs. Preston's body didn't spontaneously restart ovulation, the endocrinologist testified. Someone gave her synthetic hormones. That's the only explanation. But the defense had their own twist. Lucas's lawyer stood up during cross-examination of Derek Voss. Mr. Voss, you testified that Mr. Bennett paid you $50,000 for these medications. Can you prove that transaction took place? No. It was cash. So you have no proof. You're a disgraced doctor who lost his license. You're testifying in exchange for immunity. Isn't it possible you're lying to save yourself? I'm not lying. You also testified that Mr. Bennett planned to hide hormones in his wife's vitamin capsules. Did you ever see him do this? No, but... So you have no direct knowledge of whether he actually gave her these medications? No, but the emails show a discussion, not proof of action. Mr. Voss, isn't it possible that Mr. Bennett discussed this plan with you, but never actually went through with it? Isn't it possible that Mrs. Preston's pregnancy was, indeed, a natural miracle, and she's simply embarrassed by her choices and trying to destroy her husband's reputation? The jury looked confused. Doubt crept in. Then Patricia played our trump card. She called a forensic toxicologist who'd analyzed my hair samples from before and during the pregnancy. Hair is a remarkable biological record, the expert testified. It shows what substances have been in someone's system over time. I analyzed Mrs. Preston's hair from various time periods. In samples from 2 years ago, before her marriage, I found nothing unusual. But in samples from 18 to 14 months ago, right before and during early pregnancy, I found traces of follicle-stimulating hormone, HCG, and synthetic progesterone. These are not naturally occurring in a postmenopausal woman's body. Someone gave them to her. The courtroom erupted. Furthermore, the toxicologist continued, the levels were consistent with daily dosing over a period of approximately 3 to 4 months. Exactly what you'd see if someone was hiding medications in daily vitamin supplements. The defense had no answer for that. Epilogue. Justice and Aftermath, 118 to 123. Lucas was convicted on all counts: fraud, theft, assault. The judge sentenced him to 12 years in prison. Mr. Hartley, the judge said, you violated Mrs. Preston's bodily autonomy in the most fundamental way possible. You manipulated her biology, her body, without her consent. You put her life at risk. She nearly died as a result of the pregnancy you forced upon her. This is one of the most disturbing cases of spousal abuse I've encountered. 12 years in state prison. You'll be eligible for parole in 8. I watched him led away in handcuffs. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, just emptiness. The legal battles continued. Lucas tried to claim parental rights to Nathaniel. We fought it. The court ruled that because the pregnancy was the result of assault, he had no parental rights. I was granted sole custody. Lucas's name was removed from Nathaniel's birth certificate. I had it changed to simply Nathaniel Preston. My son. Mine alone. The tabloids eventually moved on to other scandals. The Preston Hotel Group's stock briefly dipped but recovered. My board of directors stood by me, surprisingly. The CEO released a statement. Mrs. Preston is a victim of a sophisticated criminal scheme. We support her fully. As for Nathaniel, he's 2 years old now, happy, healthy. He doesn't know the circumstances of his conception. Someday I'll have to tell him. But not yet. I sold the Newport estate. Too many memories, too much pain. I bought a smaller home in Beacon Hill, Boston. Just Nathaniel, me, and our nanny, Grace, who's become like family. I stepped back from day-to-day operations of the company. My nephew runs it now. I consult, I sit on the board, but I'm not consumed by it anymore. Instead, I'm consumed by motherhood. Story time, first steps, first words. Watching a little boy discover the world. Was it worth it? The pregnancy that nearly killed me, the betrayal, the trial, the public humiliation? When Nathaniel wraps his little arms around my neck and says, Mama, the answer is yes. But I also know the truth. He wasn't a miracle. He was a crime. And I'll spend the rest of my life unpacking what that means. People ask me if I regret marrying Lucas. The answer is complicated. I regret trusting him. I regret not seeing the signs. I regret the pain, the lies, the betrayal. But if I hadn't married him, Nathaniel wouldn't exist. So maybe some crimes lead to blessings we never deserved. And maybe that's the most complicated truth of all. Final thoughts. 12300 to 12500. I'm 57 years old now. I have a 2-year-old son. I'm a single mother, by choice this time. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, but I'd trade it all for the simple joy of watching Nathaniel sleep. They say motherhood changes you. They're right. But not in the way I expected. I thought having a child would make me softer, more vulnerable, more afraid. Instead, it made me stronger. Because now I have something worth protecting. Someone who depends on me. Someone who loves me unconditionally, not for my money or my connections, but simply because I'm his mother. Lucas sends letters from prison. I don't read them. My lawyer sends them back unopened. He'll be out when Nathaniel is 10 years old, if he gets parole. We'll deal with that when it comes. For now, I'm focused on the present. Bedtime stories. Playground visits. Teaching him to be kind. To be honest. To be nothing like his father. My miracle baby wasn't a miracle at all. He was a calculated crime. But he's still mine. And I'll protect him with everything I have. Because that's what mothers do. Even mothers who were made against their will.